your proposals are clear, you've delivered them on time, your design is dialed in, all of those things, that adds to clarity. That adds to certainty. Welcome to the Sales Made Simple podcast. This podcast is dedicated to helping overwhelmed outdoor living professionals, landscapers, and hardscapers just like you increase your closing rate to over 75% without doubling your workload so you can build a seven-figure business that doesn't need you. I'm your host, Joshua Gillow. Let's dig in. Confused minds don't buy. That's what we're going to talk about in this episode. If your customers are confused about the offer you have on the table, if your customers are confused about how you play into this entire equation, if your customers are confused by when the project's going to start, what it's going to cost, what details are going to go into it, what the final result is going to be in any way, shape, or form, the chance of you closing that project shrinks considerably because confused minds don't buy. Our goal is to take confusion and shift it into full confidence. And we do that from taking uncertainty to certainty. That's what sales professionals do. That's what great businesses do, is they take that confusion out of the equation. So, listeners, think about your process right now, your sales process, specifically from once they become a lead and pop into either your inbox or come up on social or wherever you're collecting these from, phone's ringing. Think about what you do step by step. Are you offering an environment of confidence and certainty? Or are you creating an environment of uncertainty and confusion? Here's what I mean by that. Customers who pick up the phone and call, and then they leave a message, and then nobody gets back to them, and 3 days later, you finally have time and you get back to them. They're, first of all, starting to be a little bit more confused. Like, why are you running a business if it takes you 3 days to get back to me? And that's the premise of this entire conversation to start. And then second, if you say you're going to be out at a certain time and you don't show up on time, this is all adding to that confusion bucket. When you meet with them and you say, yeah, you're a yes man or woman, and you just say yes to everything. And then your proposal doesn't reflect what you just got done talking about, or is extremely vague, or stupid simple, like paver patio, X amount of dollars, you start to concern them, start to confuse them. And in that confusion is when they get stuck. They don't know what to do next. They are sitting in a position of uncertainty and confusion kills all deals. Now, on the other side of that, if you are picking up the phone at the call time or ASAP possible afterward, you're setting dates, you're setting next expectations, you're setting expectations, you're screening customers to make sure they're great fits up front. Whatever you say you're going to deliver on, you deliver. You say, hey, the discovery call is going to be next Wednesday at 5, and that works for them. And you are there at 5 o'clock, ready to go, prepared. You start creating trust, and you keep building that trust bucket you have with the customer over and over and over again. And you keep delivering. Your proposals are clear. You've delivered them on time. Your design is dialed in. All of those things, that adds to clarity. That adds to certainty that they're going to make a great decision. Because if he or she can show up this good this early, imagine how great it's going to be later when they go to build. Because that's the big fear, ladies and gentlemen, that what happens when, if we're talking a couple $1,000 for a design now, and they're doing really, really poorly with it. Their timing is not good. They said they're going to have a design. They don't. They delivered something that didn't even line up with anything we talked about. That's all confusion. And then they gave us a proposal that was way over budget. More confusion. And that's why they're not buying. Imagine a world where your sales process took them from point A to point B, point C, point D, very organized, purposeful, and each time you knock it out of the park. Do you think you're building more or less trust with that customer when each time you meet with them, there's a touch, we call it. Each touch with that client builds that trust. This way, once that design is complete and everybody's happy and you're getting final pricing together and they know that it's going to be a big number, that they are more likely to say yes to you because they've built trust along the way. You haven't given them a reason to doubt you. It's when you start giving them reasons to doubt you throughout your sales process because either things are missed, things are never touched on, things like budget, things like exactly what their deeper desire is, what the motivating factor for doing this project is, what their hot buttons are, what life effects should look like, who you are as a company, and what the next steps are. If you're not promoting those things clearly to your customer, providing a path, a framework for success each and every time, you're leaving money on the table. You're leaving confusion in the air, and confused clients don't buy. So anyone out there listening thinking, oh man, like I don't know, man, I'm just holding this business thing together. To be honest, it's really, really tough. I got the weight of the world on my shoulders. I've got all of these bills to pay. I've got less leads than I've ever had coming in the door now. And the ones that are coming in, I'm struggling to close, wasting all my time chasing people that aren't saying yes to me. And in a position where you're like, man, I just don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just no good at this whole thing called business. Maybe I suck as a salesperson. Maybe I'm all these maybes. Let's just stop it for a second and start to get clear. Because remember, clarity brings confidence, and confidence can move mountains. Let's be clear on exactly what the problem is. Could it be that your customers, their experience of your company is of confusion and disarray? Their expectation is not being met. Could that be? And if it is, how can you change that? How can you adjust your business to be much more congruent with what your ideal client avatar needs, wants, and desires? I'm not talking about everybody. I'm not talking about the person who lives in a trailer that called you up, put some bushes in front of it, and you augmenting your business model to fit them. I'm talking about your ideal client. And if you guys don't know what that means, it means that there should be a study done right in the very beginning of your business to figure out who your ideal target audience is. What do they do for fun? Where do they work? How much do they make? What's the value of their home? How many kids do they have? Where do they vacation? Where's their favorite restaurants? What kind of cars do they drive? Are they part of the country club? Are they not? Do they prefer international travel or domestic? Where do they go to school? Where do they hang out? What do they do for fun? All of those things are important details for you to know as a business owner, so you know where to direct your marketing. So if you're directing your marketing toward a lower value lead, and then you get frustrated because you can't serve that lead because they want things cheaper than you can possibly provide them, then that sounds like a marketing problem to me. Think about it. You might be getting lots of leads that are paying per lead or whatever your arrangement is with your marketing company, but if they aren't turning into viable cash flow, what are you doing? So assuming you have the right leads coming in the door and they're still confused, or you can at least get to the point where you can understand that confusion could potentially be the problem. Now the responsibility lands on guess who? You. Because as an owner, ladies and gentlemen, the responsibility always lands on us. Always. We can blame all we want the rest of the world. The leads suck. This sucks. The weather sucks. The economy sucks. This sucks. Trump sucks. That sucks. You can do that all day long, but that's a victim mentality. And I don't know about you, but I haven't seen too many business owners be successful by being a victim. Successful business owners take accountability and they take responsibility for everything, regardless if it's their fault or not. It doesn't really make a difference whose fault it is. At the end of the day, the buck stops with you. So if you find that your customers aren't saying yes to you and you're below the average out there in our market of, maybe 30, 40% closing, if you're down in the 20s, then we've got a major confusion problem. I know that our industry can rise to 75+% closing rate. That means 7 or 8 out of 10 leads you go on or appointments you go on, you'd be bringing home. I know it's possible. We do it all the time. And I see others around the country doing it too. The difference between those companies and the companies that are doing 20, 30% close rate, which is the national average, is the fact that the ones that are doing better are the ones that actually learn this. They learn that they got to make sure their customers are not confused, that they're adding nothing but certainty on every step of the way, that they have a process in place that allows them to help the customer get to the best result. Because that's ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, what they're coming to you for is a result. They aren't clear typically in the beginning with what that looks like. It's our job to take them from that starting point to the finish line. And we do that through a process to make sure each and every client gets the very best so we can serve them at the highest levels. If they're confused, they're going to drop off. They're going to get stuck on with the lowest price because they have no other option in their own mind, even though we know that your premium price is well worth what you're charging, but there's no way they could possibly know if they're confused. So ladies and gentlemen out there, if you think of your sales process as that thing you kind of do once in a while, and sometimes you get all the way through it and sometimes you don't, or you have no process in place whatsoever, and you're just like, I'm winging it each and every time, there's no judgment. That's how I started. I didn't know anything about this until I realized I needed to start growing and becoming more so I could serve more, and in that, grow a company. You can't do that unless you're constantly growing. We have a principle called CANI, which is constant and never-ending improvement. That's what you signed up for when you said, I want to be a business owner. That's what you signed up for when you say you want to be an entrepreneur, is a constant and never-ending improvement. That is the day-to-day. So if you find yourself in a position where your clients, you think they're just uncertain about what's going on, there's confusion in what you offer, or your clients are telling you that, it's time for a change if you want to grow. Or you can stay right where you are, work like crazy, and get very little benefit for all that time you're putting in, just enough to pay the bills. Or you can radically transform, massive transformation in your business by just shifting the way you think. So if your customers are confused, time to get rid of that confusion and get to certainty. Certainty will lead to more sales. Certainty will lead to more opportunities, and certainty will take your business from where it is to where you want it to go. So if you want to build that certainty through systems, sales systems, and communication, become an absolute warrior at that, book a call. You'll see it in the show notes. I'd love to talk to you about where you are and show you the path to success.